population? Big Gavin Cool here, PanelsOnPages.com, PCW, talking to WWE Hall-of-Famer, living legend, Jerry The King Lawler. Wow,
living legend, all right.
Well, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, you know what? I've really never really gotten into not even into the Hall of Fame thing that much. It's like I'll never forget 2007. Vince McMahon called me and said, "King, we're thinking about inducting you into the WWE Hall of Fame." And I said, "No, I don't want to do it." He said, "What?" I've always associated Hall of Fames with like the Baseball Hall of Fame or Football Hall of Fame, where like you can't even get inducted until your career's been over for 5 or 10 years. So I told Vince at the time, I said, hopefully I don't think my career's over. I still want to continue on performing. And he said, "Oh no, it's not about that. It's about what you've done up to this point." So I agreed to do it, but I don't. I've never really gotten into like the records or how many titles you've won or all of this kind of stuff. I just feel like I'm doing something that don't tell anybody, but I would probably pay them to let me do. So I'm just excited. I've had fun for a very long time doing it now.
Well, you mentioned you were worried about like the Baseball Hall of Fame and people being retired, and you're quote unquote semi-retired. You recently started feuding with The Miz and then Michael Cole.
I just became semi-retired. I didn't even know that had happened, but that's okay.
Well, that's what I had heard. I'm just reporting what I hear, sir.
Did you tell him that?
Matter of fact, he's kicking butt every week.
There you go.
That's true. But you recently worked with The Miz. Was that your idea, or did the creative come to you about it, or?
Well, it sort of came about. It was like the perfect storm. It was last year on my birthday, which was November 29th. And I guess I did sort of put the word out there somewhere. I said, I had been talking to somebody. I've been in the WWE for 18 years and never had a title match. And so, like I said, it being my birthday, they decided to give me a title match, and then they turned it into a tables, ladders, and chairs match. And the response was really very good. You got to admit, WWE is a very youth-oriented company. We have all of these young superstars that are constantly banging on the door trying to get in there and make their way to the top, and rightfully so. So, I was very pleasantly surprised to get that opportunity at my advanced age. But the match went really well with The Miz, and then it turned out doing another match with him at the Elimination Chamber, and now that's led to a match, my first ever time to compete at WrestleMania coming up.
Are you excited about that, your first WrestleMania match?
I am excited about it. How could you not be excited about your first time to ever compete at WrestleMania after being in the WWE for 18 years? I'm super excited. I can't tell you how many people here at C2E2 have literally begged me to do some pretty awful things to Michael Cole. I can't even mention here on the air what they've asked me to do to Michael Cole, but I've told them my plan is for when Michael Cole leaves the Georgia Dome, his next stop is the hospital. So that should suffice.
You mentioned all the young and upcoming superstars. Who do you believe is the future of the business right now?
Well, without a doubt, you got to look at The Miz and realize how young this guy is and where he is, the WWE champion. You got guys like Alberto Del Rio in there, and of course, the funny thing is, you're asking me this question, and it hasn't even been just a matter of months. I would have said guys like Randy Orton and John Cena, because but now it's like, in no time there's new young guys on the horizon, and it's just a constant turnover of great talent there. So. The Dolph Ziggler. A few months ago, I would have thought that, here's a guy that's almost laughable, and now suddenly, he's put himself in a position to be one of the top guys there. John Morrison. There's just so many guys. Every time you turn around, it's very intimidating to a guy like me to see all these young guys making their way in there.
I've been in training for about a month and a half for professional wrestling. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's like a good friend of mine said one time. I'll tell you how to make a small fortune in the wrestling business? Start with a large one. Now, I just can't tell you that it's going to be an easy road or an easy path to make it to the WWE. It's almost impossible. It is like I think it's more difficult when you see how many young people or young guys growing up want to play in the National Football League, and what a small, minuscule amount of guys ever actually get to perform at that level. And I think it's even a more elite group of guys that get to make it into the WWE. There are just so many guys out there that want to get there, and there's so few opportunities or just so few spots for that many guys. So I would just say persevere, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. It's also sometimes good to know the right people. I mean, I can honestly say it's almost impossible to get your foot in the door unless you actually know somebody that's already in the WWE, because you just need that inroad. You need somebody to help get you noticed. I mean, you may wrestle on the independent circuit your entire life, and unfortunately, nobody from WWE may ever realize you're out there. So it's it's good to know somebody that can get you noticed. But it's very, very difficult. Try to make your way to Florida Championship Wrestling. That's the training grounds for the WWE. That's their developmental area down there. So that would be a good place to try to get noticed. And I think they have tryouts for young guys down there about twice a year. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. And you're showing your comic. That is a beautiful. Now, who drew that by chance?
Well, actually, who painted this? Let me bring the guy that's responsible for these comics. This is Nick Barucci. He is with Dynamite Entertainment and the driving force behind so many titles. I mean, but this is one that I got to do the cover for, Lone Ranger, the Death of Zorro issue, and of course I painted this. Believe it or not, that's one of the things I've experienced. A lot of people don't realize, Nick, that I do artwork, and I was actually drawing and painting before I ever started wrestling. That's how I got noticed by wrestlers, was actually by drawing caricatures of wrestlers when I was just a teenager. But Nick, how's the cover? Is it okay?
The cover's fantastic. A little bit of history on this. Jerry had this at ChicagoCon 2 years ago. It was behind his booth. I looked at it and thought it was out of this world. We were doing Zorro with Matt Wagner, and I said, Matt, I need your professional opinion. Let's go look at this painting. My friend Jerry painted it. I may be biased, so I need to know what you think. Matt went over, and we didn't even tell Jerry it was Matt Wagner. I told Jerry, here's a friend of mine. I wanted to show him your poster. Matt looked at it. He said it was awesome, because if Matt didn't like it, he didn't want Jerry to know who he was. And then I was like, oh, by the way, Jerry is Matt Wagner. Matt, Jerry the King Lawler. The painting is so powerful. It was so unbelievable. We wanted to save it for a special occasion. Number one, an anniversary issue, something special. And when we were able to do the Lone Ranger Death of Zorro, this has so much power, like a Frazetta painting. We knew this had to be one of the key covers. I mean, think about it. It's Jerry the King Lawler with Alex Ross. Yeah. Alex did a cover, Jerry did a cover.
I mean, when I look at this, I can't tell you how many times I've looked inside here, and just to see my name alongside a name like Alex Ross, it's pretty overwhelming. I mean, it's maybe even better than my first WrestleMania match. I mean, it's up there with that, I'm telling you.
Now, had you not pursued professional wrestling, do you believe you would have been a professional artist?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, I was lucky enough to win a full tuition commercial arts scholarship to University of Memphis when I got out of high school, and that was my full intention. Hopefully, to one day get involved in doing comic books, or believe it or not, Hallmark cards. That were the two things I wanted to work on. But fortunately. I guess fortunately, I got sidetracked into the wrestling, but now it seems like it's come full circle. Thanks to Nick and guys like that, I'm being able to get my foot in the door once again in the comic industry, and I mean, I couldn't be happier. And this is another one of their titles, Dynamite Entertainment, and I can't wait to do some work on Vampirella. It's been one of my all-time favorite characters forever.
I've never seen Jerry not be 100% committed to anything he's done. If he wanted to be an artist, he would have been one of the top in the field.
Thank you. One last question. I don't want to hold you up too long. What would your dream job be working in the comic industry? What is the one comic, aside from Superman? I know you're big on Superman. Aside from Superman, what would your dream comic job be?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Believe it or not, Nick and Dynamite Entertainment, of course, like I said, from the first thing I can remember drawing when I was 5 years old, Superman and Batman. And, they're like, what are you going to say about them? That would be great. But right now, I mean, to be involved with Zorro, also as a kid, Zorro was one of my all-time favorite characters. I mean, I was glued to the Disney Zorro with Guy Williams and that sort of thing. Love that. Love the Lone Ranger. This, to me, getting involved with this company is like a dream come true for me. It really is.
Well, Jerry, wish you the best of luck. I hope you have a long career in comic books as well as wrestling, of course.
Yeah, my only fear has been it'd probably happen in a match like Michael Cole somehow, as clumsy as he is, would wind up falling on my right hand, breaking my fingers, and making me unable to draw or something. That would be my luck, But I'm going to try to keep my right hand away from Michael Cole.
Jerry, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
PCW, 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 PCW.
Shameless plug.